And Rodger, what do you think about that assembly? Why do you think it's essential?
Because it's very informative. A lot of our African-American kids don't know the history. You ask them who Frederick Douglass is. I don't know. Who is Sojourner Truth? I don't know. Did you know that back then that black people were lynched or hanged? No, I didn't know that. So it's kind of like an eye-opening experience at the N-Bomb Assembly when some of our youth see this. And with Fluke and the Village Nation, it's very visual because we put it up on right there for them to see. There's a slide presentation to let these young men and young ladies know that this is what your history, this is where this word comes from, and it's not okay for you to say it, even if if it's another black person that's saying it to another black youth. It's not okay. Because at the same time, if some non-black youth says that N-word, then that black youth is going to get very upset. So you need to know your history, not to say it, period. And that's what the N-Bomb Assembly is about, giving them that history and let them know why it's not appropriate to use the N-word, whether it be an African-American youth they're saying it to or a non-African-American youth.
Desirade, you've gone to the N-word assembly, correct? Mm-hmm. And what did you take away from it? What was it like?
I thought it was amazing. What I like that they do really well is we'll come in, the kids will come in, and Mr. Fluker, everyone loves and respects him as a teacher of our school. And as they're calling us in saying the word. And it's like, you have to pull back and think about it, because it's like, one of the men we respect is calling us that. Why? You know, like, why is he doing that? Why is he approaching us in this way? And personally, that's really deep to me, because I don't see a lot of, in my family or in general, a lot of older men. I see a lot of, it's just kids, or, you know, a lot of men do that. So for him to come, and I really respect him, so for him to come at me like that, it just opens up a topic of conversation or a topic of more history from the word.
And Fluke, what were some of the reactions you got from students in the assembly?
It's incredible. You know, one of the first things that we do with the kids when they come in there is we ask their permission to tell them the truth. Now, that's an unusual concept on two levels. One is most kids never get asked permission to do anything by an adult. Adults just do it. And so by asking them permission, you bring them up to the level and to the status of adult right there. And then to tell them the truth, the whole idea of telling them the truth. A lot of kids, by the time they're in high school, they're very cynical to anything that an adult has had to say, because adults in the history and their past and their experience have lied to them, have been deceitful to them, have tried to trick them, have been very hypocritical to them. And so that's the relationship that they're used to having with adults. They got that adult in their life that tells them, I better not ever catch you smoking while they're puffing away. So by the time they get to high school, they're not really tuned into anything that an adult has to say. So for us to ask their permission to tell them the truth, they're like, okay, you got about 5 minutes. And so we hit them right between the eyes with the truth. And in this case, it's the truth of the N-word. And their response is unbelievable. They just get hungry for more. Tell us more, teach us more, show us more, get me to understand more. What else don't I know? And so that conscious raisingness allows them to feed feverishly on more information.
And do you see a difference between schools, different locations or cities that you visit, or amongst the different, say, maybe the more aggressive students? Do you see a difference in reactions with those students?
Well, I would say that, and we've been blessed to do the N-Bomb Impact Assembly in various places, from all over Los Angeles to East St. Louis to Knoxville, Tennessee, to Flint, Michigan. We've done it to Fresno. We've done it all over. And it seems to me that the cities and the schools that were the hardest, that were the most urban-like, that you might think there would be the most resistance, was the most change. Those kids were really impacted by that. And they were really, no kids like to be felt like they're being played as a sucker. And when you explain the history of that word and show them how they're embracing that word, they feel like they're being played as a sucker. And they get really serious about trying to change their ways.
When did you know that the Village Nation was a success?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think after our first meeting, and we gathered those kids up into the MPR, the multi-purpose room, and all the African-American adults, custodians, teachers, cafeteria workers, formed a big circle around them and held our hands around them. And each one of us told them how we felt about them. And some of us said it in anger and frustration. Some of us said it with tears running down our eyes. And I saw the reactions of the kids, and I saw them embracing us, both physically and emotionally. I knew that we was onto something big. And when those test scores came out, and that byproduct of those test scores came out, the API test scores, and we saw the jump that we saw, we knew that this was something for real.
Rodger, can you tell me about Lifeline and your involvement?
Okay, the Lifeline is a support group for the Village Nation. 3 years ago, we started a parent group because for a program like this to succeed, you have to have parents backing it.
Yes.
The parents is a very strong component to the Lifeline because at Cleveland High, we advocate for the kids. If there's any kid, whether it be black or Spanish or that has a problem, they know that they can come to any Lifeline parent. And we have relationships with the principals, the vice principal, the counselors, all of them. And we go to them directly and we say, our kid has a problem. What can you do to fix it? You have to have advocates on behalf of the kids working for them. We had one kid, for example, a year ago that was graduating, but she needed a Spanish class. Counselor said, well, why do you need that class? You're going to a junior college anyway. Well, that's not the point. Your job is to get our kids ready to go to four-year colleges. That should be automatic. It's not whether they want to take it or not. It should be offered so they can take it. So I had to call Fluke, and we had to go up front, talk to the assistant principal, who went to the head counselor, and we got this young lady the Spanish class. And I think ever since we did that, our kids, whether they be African-American, whoever they are, if they see a Lifeline parent, especially on campus, won't hesitate to come up and say, can you help me? Whether it be services so far as grades, tutoring, that's what we do. We'll get them in touch with the appropriate tutoring. And then we also have to understand that a lot of our kids come from single parent. I was a single parent. My mom raised me. So a lot of our kids don't have that black male around there to help them. And this is what Fluke and I do, and a lot of the other coaches, football coaches, are in the Lifeline also. Our kids can come to us, and we'll be that strong male bonding, whatever, to help them to get over. And that's what we do, because a lot of our kids and a lot of our young ladies will come up and say, Mr. Dickerson, can you help me? I'm having a problem in a class. I won't hesitate to go to a counselor. I don't let counselors intimidate me or whatever. I will go as a parent and say, what can you do for this young lady? She has a problem.
Lifeline is just that. It's a lifeline organization, and it provides a lifeline for our children. They are advocates for our kids, and they are also there as mentors for our kids, and as he says, as surrogate parents for our kids. For some of our kids that might not even have that parent at home. And so that's tremendous. That's really, really important. You know, when you approach this situation as complex as it is, you have to look at it in a holistic way. It's like if you was trying to fight an octopus. If you only grab one tentacle, the other 7 will beat you to death. Well, with us having the teachers doing a great job that they do, with us having the parents doing a great job that they do, the students doing what they do, with the administration doing what they do, we've found a way to grab all these tentacles at once and wrestle this beast down, and our kids have responded appropriately.